Once again, it's time to answer some questions from listeners around the country. The first question today comes in from Paula from beautiful Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Hello, Warren. Thank you for your great advice that you share on your radio program. I enjoy the show. It's very informative. You don't have to kiss up. I'll answer the question anyway. I have a male rescued cat who I was told is almost 2 years old. I got him on Family Day, a holiday here in February. He's an odd habit which I have never had a cat do before and wonder if it's a sign of a health problem. Miko has a habit of pushing his water bowl around, spilling water, or dipping his paw into the water before drinking it. I use glass bowls, stainless steel bowls, and the type of bowl doesn't make a difference. He does the same thing. I heard that cats have sensitive mouths and chlorinated tap water may actually cause a burning sensation. So, I give him filtered water now, but he still does the same thing. Could this be a problem with his eyesight, and is this the way he's checking out that the water in the bowl? Or does he just like pushing his water bowl across the floor? He only does it with his water bowl. Thank you for your time, and what can I do about it? Well, Paula, if I had catnip for every time I've been asked this question, I'd be a rich man in catnip. Let me tell you what's going on here. Cats are so incredibly bright and so instinctive, and especially when you have a cat that refuses to drink still water, it tells me that the cat's mind says if the water is not moving, then perhaps it's not safe to drink. For example, if you're ever to go into the wild and watch a lion or a tiger or a bobcat drink from a lake or a stream, they'll take their paw and they'll swat the water first before they drink it. It's their way of making sure the water is good to drink. I do agree with you about the chlorinated water, and using the filtered water is fine as well. But here's something I want you to try. Years ago I talked about this, and now many companies manufacture it. It's actually a little waterfall for cats. What happens is it's filtered, so the water is filtered just the same, but the water flows out of the top and just recirculates, so the water's already moving. That may be exactly what you need to do. So I would check out online or the Better Pet stores for a cat water fountain. That's what it's all about. But the next time your cat walks away from the water dish or pushes it around, just think about this. It's not because she wants to be bad. It's not because she's dumb. It's because she's smart enough to realize if the water's not moving, just maybe, it's not safe to drink. Good luck. And the next question comes from one of my favorite places in the world, Elmswood Park, New Jersey, from Marianne. Hey Warren, I listen to your show every week, but it's so hard to get through. I know, we're trying to rectify that. We'll keep you posted. My beagle dog Max is 5 years old. He's had the problem for some time now, but it seems to be getting worse. Every time we sit down to eat, he always barks. Whether I feed him first or feed him when we eat, he still barks. I tried spraying him with a water bottle, but nothing seems to help. Whenever he sees us eating anything, he barks. I take very good care of Max. He eats twice a day. I give him his treats, yogurt. I don't know what else to do. Please help me. Well, a couple of things going on. First of all, I am a big fan of feeding your dog at the same time you sit down to eat. Instinctively, dogs come from pack animals, and therefore they eat in groups. So when you sit down to eat, or when you're eating, the assumption is I should be eating as well. I think what's going on here, though, is a problem created by you. What a shock. When in doubt, blame it on Mom. Listen to me carefully. When he's barking excessively, rather than just walking away and ignoring it, you're correcting poor. What's his name again? You're correcting poor Max by saying, no, bad dog, phooey, spraying him with a water bottle. All of those things are giving Max attention. And even though that attention may not be positive, the dog's still going to react to it. So here's a couple of things I suggest. Have some fake meals. Sit down at the table as if you're going to eat, but don't eat. And if he starts annoying you, just get up and walk away. Don't say good, don't say bad, just get up and walk away. Believe if you feed Max the same time you sit down to eat, but feed him out of several dishes. So after he eats his bowl, he doesn't see, he eats his bowl, then he looks at you, and you guys are still eating. You're on your second course or your third course, even though you said you fed him at the same time. Here's what I try to do. Maybe feed him a little bit when you start your meal, a little bit mid-meal, or feed him out of several different dishes. That ought to make the whole difference. But whatever you do, don't correct him. He's not doing anything wrong. Again, it's instinctive behavior. You're eating. Hey, shouldn't I be eating? Just get up and walk away. Ignore it. Max will get the idea, and the next time you'll be able to sit down and have a dinner without Max barking in the background, I promise. And the next question comes from Roseanne from New York, New York, even though she has a dog from Mississippi. I wonder if it barks with a rough you all type accent. Hey Warren, I adopted a lab mix in October from Mississippi. I already have a purebred Jack Russell, both females. The lab's approaching a year this month, and she still is very into chewing. Everything but her toys. When left alone, she goes for remotes, shoes, toys, obviously because she's bored and angry. But even when we're home, she sneaks into any room and insists on eating chalk, crayons, and paper. She's learned how to open the door, let herself out, but then we can't catch her for at least an hour. I brought every treat, bone, but she prefers items that are not edible. She's chewed up molding, scratched doors, and ripped the couch to shreds. Please help. My goodness, chewing. There's 4 basic reasons a dog will chew. Number 1, they're teething when they're young, obviously. Number 2, they're bored. Number 3, they're not getting enough exercise. And number 4, something called pica, which is a deficiency in the dog's diet, which gives them a bizarre craving for certain items. Now, there's a couple of things we could rule out in your case, okay? From what you're describing to me, and the dog was rescued from Mississippi, I don't know a lot about the dog's background. I don't know if the dog ever had toys when he was young. I don't know if the dog really understands the concept of differentiating toys that are for him and toys that are not. But here's another thing I want you to take into consideration. Even though he's chewing when you're there, it seems that a lot of his destructive behavior takes place when you're not there. A lot of trainers and behaviorists would describe this as separation anxiety. I'm not going to call it separation anxiety. I'm going to call it something different. I'm going to call it abandonment issues or abandonment anxiety. The fact that it was a rescued or an adopted dog indicates to me that the dog may have had a home or probably had a home, if not more than one, prior to him coming into your home in New York. Therefore, every time you leave, this dog goes into panic mode and he starts chewing everything. Remember, a dog's mouth is like human hands. When they're stressed out, when they're anxious, they'll chew on everything in sight because the chewing helps them alleviate the stress that they're feeling. So let's take it from a couple of different perspectives. First of all, I would increase the dog's exercise as much as possible. I would get the dog on a program where you're rotating his toys. Put down 6 on Monday, pick them up Tuesday, new ones go down on Wednesday, then the old ones return on Thursday. Just rotate them on a regular basis. Also, when you're home and the dog is chewing in front of you, you reacting to it by saying, "No, bad dog." A perfect example. The dog is chewing, let's say, your eyeglass case. So you say, "Give me that." You take the eyeglass case away from the dog and give the dog a toy of his own. You just told the dog anytime he wants to chew on something he wants, all he's got to do is grab something that you don't want him to have. You'll say no and replace it with something good. So you don't want to do that. So I want you to increase the exercise, number 1. Also, what I'd like you to do is work on the separation anxiety. When you're home, go into another room and close the door. Even though he knows you're there, go into another room, close the door. Go outside for short periods of time. That'll make a difference as well. It also sounds to me like the dog may be going through something we call latent psychological teething. It's kind of like the adult that sucks his thumb at 21 years old. There's no real need to suck the thumb anymore, but it goes back to early days. And I think that's part of the problem as well. I don't think the dog ever really got out of its teething stage and never really learned on what to chew and what not to chew. Rotate the toys, use some of the bit of deterrence, increase the exercise factor. Also, you say that he doesn't come back when you call him. It doesn't sound to me like you've done any basic obedience training with dog. Very often, basic obedience training does more than teach the dog how to sit, stay, heel, down, and come. It builds up the dog's confidence, eliminates anxiety and stress, which may help resolve your problem as well. Good luck to you, and I promise you, if you follow my advice, you can put the moldings back up on the wall.